Welcome to The Scoop, a program that goes beyond the headlines in bringing you detailed reports of our news. Today on the show,
it is expected that in a dynamic party like the Patriotic Front, stakeholders will express various views and take positions.
President Michael Sata calls for a stop to widening divisions and parallel structures that have emerged in the governing Patriotic Front. Political analysts, however, say the president's call failed to address the many major issues that have emerged following the division in his government.
It's a conflict, if left on its own to play itself out, can actually undermine a lot of party activities and national programs. So it is important for the leaders in the PF to be seen to be in charge. It is very surprising that the leaders have allowed a situation where people are attacking each other in the press. One would want to see a situation where the leaders actually call for a meeting of some kind. You know, people come to a round table discussion so that specific issues being raised by all the parties concerned are actually addressed. So we are saying that there is a problem, and the problem is that the leaders have taken too long to address this matter.
Accusations of corruption among some top government ministers and tribalism have taken center stage in the raging battle. Will the PF overcome their differences and forge as a united party in government? After enduring 3 years of a bitter land dispute, a 73-year-old widow of Mungule receives judgment in her favor.
Judgment yakapekwa sunu yaba cancelled kwamba itena kukonkana amulao wawine mukuni amulao wakufumende. So judgment yapekwa sunu jakwamba yaba mambo bene musena balete kuya mukutalika kuyaka.
The traditional court overturned an earlier ruling in the local court that granted her brother-in-law ownership of her piece of land. Ngulube's battle with her brother-in-law started upon the demise of her husband.
Nilioya mikira monse amene manisogolera konkani sekomo.
More than 16,000 villagers in Chirundu face eviction after their land was allegedly sold to investors by Chieftainess Chiawa of the Goba people. 6 headmen have since spoken out against the chieftainess, calling for intervention from government.
Chifuka chakutiriwo sauka ngati ni imfa ine pano being as a senior headman makoro yanga yanayambirira kufa kufera ntaka yameneyi na ine zenje niyoseguka kusegukira ine nizaro wa mumanda mameno.
If my headman tilibe kingdom yokambapo this tribe ukakambako kuti chintu ichi magulisa bwanyi ndi apa place bakamba kuti iyo sunga kambika iyo ndio mwana chabe ine ndine mwino wa munzi.
Some villagers have since demanded her removal from the throne.
Atide taona namu
atatuvutisa samfuna wachifi sawafuna wachifa chokepo
pano tine nzara kapano
pano tuoti na njara batsati kabirapo.
I'm Francesca Banda, and you are watching The Scoop. President Sata's dislike for corruption was ably summarized when he told the nation that he is allergic to the vice. However, many wonder why the president has seemingly failed to address corruption among some of his cabinet ministers. PF Secretary General Winter Kabimba, who is also Justice Minister, has not only once revealed acts of corruption among some of his colleagues in cabinet.
It is clear the governing Patriotic Front, PF, is faced with serious internal divisions. The divisions in the party have been smoldering for over a year now, and the solution seems not just available. 2, if not 3 camps have emerged in the party. One camp linked to Justice Minister Winter Kabimba, another linked to Defense Minister Geoffrey Mwamba, while the third is taking a neutral position. Vice President Guy Scott, Mandev Member of Parliament Jean Kapata, Robert Chikwelete, Goodson Banda and Kennedy Kamba have been some of the prominent names in the raging wrangles. President Sata acknowledges the wrangles and emergence of parallel structures in the party.
It is expected that in a dynamic party like the Patriotic Front, stakeholders will express various views and take positions.
Ironically, it is President Sata who elevated Robert Chikwelete to the position of Lusaka District Chairperson, toppling the elected Goodson Banda.
Vice President Guy Scott said he did not believe that the person who was claiming to be chairman of the district was appointed. So again, there is some shroud of doubt as to whether he's self-appointed or he was appointed by the president. But if he's got the blessings of the president, I can tell you, it is sad, because in that way, the president was undermining the power of his Secretary General.
Without a clear statement from the president on his fate, Goodson Banda still holds on to his position as the legitimate office holder.
I was elected PF Lusaka District Chairman on 9th September 2012 at Secretariat, Rwasha Road. I therefore would like to challenge my colleagues to tell this nation as to when they were elected and where. If democracy is good for the nation, democracy also is good for the district. If free and fair elections are good for the nation, then free and fair elections are good for the district. We don't force leadership on people. All of us, we are called to lead by God. Leadership comes from God. Those who are coming in leadership without consulting God, you are wrong, Bwana. I want also to urge the police to be very professional. I want to urge the police to be very professional. A wrong is a wrong. A wrong will never be right. And we don't want us to start lecturing the police to tell them which one is a crime and which one is not a crime. It's not our duty. The police went to college and learned which is what to learn and to know what it is, what constitutes a crime. What those people are doing by even staying at the district office, that is impunity. And that is a criminal trespass. Because they are not supposed to be there. So, do we need the president to come to the district to remove those people? No. Where are the police? The police don't take sides.
That aspect of confusion in the ruling party aside, other major issues of grave concern that have emerged have to do with corruption among top government ministers. PF Secretary General Winter Kabimba, who is also Justice Minister, has sounded a warning on cases of corruption among some of his colleagues in cabinet on more than one occasion. President Sata's dislike for corruption may just be in words and not in action, as nothing has been done on these allegations of corruption in his cabinet, at least as things stand in the public eye. For the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, their hands are tied as they have to get permission from President Sata to investigate cabinet ministers. Mr. Kabimba has further raised alarm on tribalism allegedly prevailing in the governing party. Should these matters be brushed aside and seen just as an attempt by Mr. Kabimba to find some breathing space following intense pressure and demands for his blood?
Seen is that there's breakdown in the hierarchy, where you find the youth challenging the vice president, a youth challenging the secretary general of the party. That must be controlled, because it's a loss of direction, because at the end of the day, they will demand for the removal of the president himself. And it will not be strange, because he will have allowed it to happen to other leaders. PF now is the party in government. We expect them to put the house in order. I will expect cabinet ministers not to attack each other in the open. We've seen this happen again and again. There's only one person who can be blamed for this. It's the president himself. He's supposed to bring them to order and tell them that you can't attack each other in the open. That's why we've got cabinet, that's why we've got officers who can sit and resolve issues. But the president appears not to be concerned about these things. How can a government function as a cohesive unit? In cabinet, there's what's called collective responsibility. How can you have collective responsibility if you're busy tearing each other apart in the streets? It's sad, it's unfortunate, they must stop it. Maybe they were not ready to govern. But along the way, everybody thought that they would get their act together and begin to show leadership and give the people of Zambia some hope that something will come out of their government. It's extremely sad. We don't want to encourage it, we don't wish them ill, we want them to get themselves organized. A 5-year mandate is there. But if they continue at this pace, they might not finish the 5-year mandate because the people gave them the mandate will disapprove of that and may demand for their removal. Those protesters are asking to protest in the streets against Mr. Kabimba. Can one day be protests against the removal of the government and the president himself? We must avoid that kind of thing. We must not encourage people to do that kind of thing.
About a year ago, at the beginning of the current wrangles in the PF government, Defense Minister Geoffrey Mwamba said this in an airborne interview.
Look here, a president is not supposed to take sides as far as I'm concerned. First of all, he has to weigh. He has to know who's to blame and who's not to blame. So at this point in time, I feel that, in fact, you are putting so much pressure. I feel sorry for my president, actually, for what is happening now. Because one, we may force him to make a wrong decision because of our own selfishness. I'm saying our own selfishness, including myself. You see, but I'm sure in due course you'll be able to address this situation, but of course not in public, not for public domain, but as a family. Even in a home, we fight. Your own wife that you love, we fight. So what is happening now is normal, and I'm pretty sure that President Sata will resolve this problem. Look here, in fact, you see, I totally agree. I think squabbles should not be there. Look here, it's only 1 year along the line. This is the time now that we should focus on giving the people of Zambia what we promised them. But unfortunately, which I didn't know, or my supporters didn't know, that there was another force which is trying to bring confusion. This force claims that they are the ones who make presidents. So they are the ones who decide the destiny of Zambia. But at this point in time, I'll tell you, after the tenure of office, whatever they may say, the people of Zambia will decide. Not one single soul who claims that he makes president. Unfortunately, he doesn't. I've been in the campaigns, he has never been. And how can he say that he's the one who has made Sata to be president? It's the people of Zambia. Who is he? He's just a small fish in the ocean. You see? And if he thinks it's too big, time will catch up. Time will catch up very soon with it.
Which force is this are you referring to?
Which force? Yes. No names at this particular time, but as being due course, I'll be able to reveal.
Divisions in PF are deeper than they appear on face value, and unless something is done now, the party and ultimately government may be headed for more damage.
The damage that has been done has been too grave, and I think the bloodletting has been too deep. Even at some point they will pretend that all is well. It will not be. They will never trust each other again. Politics is about power, and when you see a person trying to unseat you in such an uncharitable manner, there's no way you can be friends again. I can assure you that the wounds are so deep that decisions must be made, and fundamental decisions that will help either save the party or help the individuals to recover from the pressure. It's not normal that you can subject a leader to such pressure continuously and abuse by the so-called members of his political party, and expect that leader to continue to function happily, because everybody sees we look like an enemy. We don't know who to trust now, both in cabinet, those in the party, and amongst the party members in general. He sees enemies all around him, because that's the way they've treated the Secretary General of their party. It's quite unfortunate. I don't think the party will ever be the same, and the leadership will ever be the same.
Questions will linger on why President Sata is seemingly allowing the wrangles to continue.
It's a conflict, if left on its own to play itself out, can actually undermine a lot of party activities and national programs. So it is important for the leaders in the PF to be seen to be in charge. It is very surprising that the leaders have allowed a situation where people are attacking each other in the press. One would want to see a situation where the leaders actually call for a meeting of some kind. You know, people come to a round table discussion so that specific issues being raised by all the parties concerned are actually addressed. So we are saying that there is a problem, and the problem is that the leaders have taken too long to address this matter.
Whenever and however the solution is found, the wounds of injury for the warring parties may probably never heal.
I do hope that the Secretary General of the PF, with the way he's been treated, he might choose the route of magnanimity, not to shed blood in terms of who he wants to go crashing with him. And also, as they make a decision over him, they must not forget and throw away all the good things he's done for the party. We are all human, we make mistakes. And if he's made mistakes, as mistakes more gross than the mistakes of others, who in the PF can say is holier than their Secretary General? I'm not defending him, I'm not his supporter, but I always believe that when a person is down, that's the time he needs people to help him get up. So the worst for me is not happening. We need to help the Secretary General to get back to his feet and be able to function again, wherever he chooses to go. But I don't think the humiliation has been fair.
Chieftainess Chiawa of Chirundu faces accusations from her subjects of allegedly selling huge chunks of land to both local and foreign investors. The development has saddened her subjects, who feel they may soon become landless. Over 15,000 hectares has allegedly been sold, putting the future of about 16,000 of her subjects in doubt.
So it's not in your please.
Ati please tipemba kuti boma titandizeko ziko ino yaipa.
Uyu munhu ati mude kana padiki afe. Tasaina. Hakuna wanaona.
Chief ametiri nawo ava sivaindira muntu aliye sivaindira na munzuru wonse. Ati ifa metifuna manje tifuna achokepo swamfuna.
Atide taona namu.
Atativutisa swamfuna wachifi swafuna wachifa achokepo.
A revolt against the authority of Chieftainess Chiawa of the Goba people by her subjects in Chiawa, Chirundu district, is imminent over concerns regarding land administration. Some of her headmen and subjects have raised concerns over huge tracts of land being given to both local and foreign investors by the chieftainess.
Wasapunzira palibe chamene unganuze ine nyenengera kuchita pamene nifuna kulibeka muntu kinango kanga bwere ukamba goise pa muntu panga apa chiri kuli ine mfumu nikafuna kupasa nipasa nikafuna kugulisa nigulisa olo uchita ntota ni zaka gulisa kachiyawa konse aka munyale imewe ni Mushonganende bamukamba tumfumu ni watu ni wanu pakamwa noti kuudyera ndine ni udyera tapempa baboma ititandize nanga chamene sivati yankira ni chani
ife ma headman tilibe kingdom yokambapo this time ukakambako kuti chintu ichi magulisa bwanyi ndi apa place bakamba kuti iyo sunga gambika iyo ndio mwana chabe ine ndine mwino wa muzi manje chamene ndabapo nja kuti tinalira kuti tichinje mumavuto athu kuchoka muyemwe mti kufika lero pamene tilili ina change siniyiona ndiye pamene ipakirira change yakayena kodi boma ndiye kuti inkhani amene tilira kuno yantaka ndiye kuti siwationapo oro kapena baona kuti kuno kwachiya kulibe bantu.
The subjects have further been angered by the chieftainess' alleged allocation of land to herself and 3 other people in a company called Chiawa Sugar Estates Limited. They contend that the chieftainess is abusing her authority by giving out land beyond what she is entitled to give according to the Land Act, which is 250 hectares. The sugar company, in which the chieftainess is one of the 4 directors, has acquired a combined total of 15,160 hectares, with each director allocated 3,790 hectares.
It was just earmarked that this land is suitable for sugarcane, because
we know that across there, across Zimbabwe, when you go somewhere, Chirundu, there's sugar plantation there. So we know that even here in Zambia, in Chiawa, sugar can do better. So it was just earmarked, and the plans are underway that if we can come across an investor who is willing to come and invest here, we are very much willing to have an investor to invest in sugar plantation.
The villagers have written to government over the case on numerous occasions, but claim to have received little or no attention at times.
Kufika kuliwa mai wankomesha wasinia nkani iliko chaiko kumutu kuproti wani nkani iliko bati palibe chamene tuona kuti tiyankibe koma umboni uliko kuti itaka ili kugulisidwa tibwerera kumau yaje kuti imwe mukamba sabe inenise nsatumba.
With the impending displacement, villagers' access to water resources has been hindered, following them to demand the removal of Chieftainess Chiawa.
Pakuti tikuyanga na mavinyalala tili kupitiriza mpaka kumutu mpaka pamwamba pa nyumba ndiye kuti mzakati pyangirali iti kuno kwatu pakuti malamulo amene tikusevenza pali ino nthawi kuno kwatu ya MMD ndiye kuti mwa PF mulibe malamulo yakuti nemwe muzichitako please baboma tiyangane nkoni ba PF kufikira zaka zibwera izi mzaona munga kuti kuno kwatu tili na mwano sitizakavota
but popanga vintu mankala munga mumeta kalira so iyi chintu zachichita bwanje but achifati vosivichitika kuno ife tuma vuto wamenanga mangusire vuto ameti nayo ife ni government.
When contacted for a comment via telephone, Chieftainess Chiawa denied the accusations, demanding to meet the scoop crew to clarify the matter on camera.
It can't be true. Where there's no government which can give it. Me, I'm a normal person. There's no one can take a hat and give somebody a piece of land and say build here when somebody has been there for years and years. You see, you can see that those are just stories, formed up stories, just to undermine me, just to maybe just to see that so that they can show people that I'm such a bad person. I'm not all that bad. I think I've got 4 brains in my mind because I've given land since I've been a chief for over 24 years. I can't remember from the time I became a chief how much land I've given. Plenty of land, they can't even cultivate it. One time the story was a good story was in Mastoko, plowed a big land and say you share with each other. If you came there, it was going to be a shame. Some people having 2 lands, they leave it. Some people 5 lands, they leave it. But nobody plowed that land fully. It was never utilized. It was utilized fully. Mr. Kanguma is Ashton. He's my cousin. He's just jealous of me being on this position. He also wants to be in this position. That's the headman we can talk about. He's a very proud man. He doesn't want to talk to me. I don't know why he doesn't want to talk to me. And there's Mr. Chariba. Watson Chariba is not even nowhere near our ownership. He's just somebody else.
Okay, they were just...
Mr. Gunfighter is not even a headman, he's not even from the royal family. We cannot call that one as a headman. He's just a confuser in the community. Well, I think that will be most important for you and those people to be with me and tell me where I've done, what I've done and what I've not done. Because it's not true, just because I'm a leader, you want to put me in the paper so that everybody looks at me like I'm a fool. I'm not a fool.
However, upon arrival at her chiefdom, Chieftainess Chiawa snubbed the scoop crew, although her advisors attempted to clarify some of the accusations on her behalf. Chief's representative, Kesia Sakala, said the chieftainess does not own any land in Chiawa in her personal capacity apart from her palace.
Previously in Chiawa, here people used to suffer a lot from hunger. When we were growing up, we were even listening to some songs to say people in Chiawa are dying from hunger, they're eating some roots. I think those stories were there on radio and on TV sometime back in Kaunda, that people in Chiawa are eating some roots.
But because of the investors that have come here, that problem is no longer there. People are able to work. Some are even renting good houses in Chirundu.
However, documents obtained at the Patents and Companies Registration (AGRA) indicate Chieftainess Chiawa is one of the 4 directors in Chiawa Sugar Estates Limited. Another director in the company sitting on a 15,160 hectares is Chirundu District Commissioner Maxwell Siamalimba. The scope team will keep following the story to establish who is being truthful in the Chiawa chiefdom land dispute. A traditional court at Senior Chieftaincy Mungule's Palace in Chiwambo district has granted a 73-year-old widow custody of her piece of land. Ngulube was on the verge of being displaced by her late husband's brother, who was claiming ownership of the land in question.
73-year-old Evelyn Ngulube never imagined that one day her husband's young brother could turn against her in his death. Mrs. Ngulube has for the past 3 years since her husband's demise fought his young brother, Michael Zulu, over a piece of land. Mr. Zulu has been claiming ownership of Mrs. Ngulube's land and went as far as selling a portion of the said piece of land. A local court judgment gave him ownership of the land, throwing Mrs. Ngulube into further misery and uncertainty. Not being satisfied with the local court judgment, Mrs. Ngulube appealed to Chieftainess Mungule for her case to be heard at the traditional court. It was a packed court session. Scores turned up, including a delegation from the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, based in Kenya. A 3-panel jury, led by Mungule Chiefdom Advisory Council Chairperson, Headman Mushonganende, interrogated the complainant and the accused.
So court yamene naweruza mulandu wanu simunakutire chifukwa chake mwabwera ku court kuti muchitapira.
Simunakutire chifukwa chama uchonena kuti ina Zulu abakumaro angangagalire ine maro awa apitirira pa 30 years.
Wamuna bantu banafera pamene apo pamaro.
Banafera pamene apo pamaro na kushikiwa Headman Manyama.
So malo yamene ayo lero ni yamene ba Zulu bakamba kuti ni yabo pamene munali kunkhala olo pamene munkhala.
Pamene ni nkhala.
Ni yamene ba Zulu bakamba kuti ni yabo.
Ni yabo koma nawo bali nawo awo malo.
So bafuna imwe muchokepo paja pamalo musangaleko na mbali ili yonse.
Ni chamene bafuna.
Nichifukwa ninji chamene bafuna kuti imwe muchokerepo pamalo paja. Kapena pamene munali kunkhalapo pa 30 years munalembera nako contract yokamba kuti munkhalapo temporary olo mubasungirako malo yawo.
Yeah.
Nanga chabwera bwanji kuti bakuuze ni kuti muchokepo simufunika kunkhalako na mbali ili yonse kuli ya jamaa.
Sinizingaziwe.
Kunsiyo siriza nikuti chifuka chachiyani pamene mukamba kuti simunakutire chimene munasainira pa mapepa achachani.
Ninafunsiwa basana niberengere monga muntu amene siniziwoverenga.
Ayantu agulisa 4 million. Munagulisa yonse malo olo munagulisa ko mbali.
Munagulisa ko pati kuti bizitame wapasa.
So munagulisa ko pati ya malo. So manje funso niyo kamba kuti pamene munagulisa ko pati aba munawapasa 3 million. Simwa mini mwauzira kodi. Munazala na 1 million. Nanga ba Headman munawapasa ko zingati?
Headman nikawapasa ko. Nawapasa ni ya.
Funso kuti Headman munawapasa ko zingati? Simuna wapaseko.
Mwausakoti kuti munagulisa malo ya wamaya kapena yana pa 4 million. Iyo mwapasa 3 million. Imwe mwasala na 1 million. Ine nilina ng'ombe imosi. Nagulisa 500,000. Hey? Natenga 20 kwacha na pasaimu. Hii asara yonse natia ine. Mwine wa ng'ombe ndani.
The accused insisted he owned the land in question, as he had only requested Mrs. Ngulube to play the role of a caretaker.
Mala asara ni anatimianga.
Ni yanu bwanji chifukwa jamalo banali volembe wapo mu buku mu village register bene baki volembe waniaba.
Ananipasa mara abili. Headman
Chororesa Headman akakwasa mtu mmoja mara abili register mzuri.
Kulinganiza mwambie tinachezera mnatini na chini
chirone
question chiloledwa nkhala na two press walembewa mu register ya Headman wankhala na malo abiri
pakuti rate of sale munagulisa 4 million nanga uyu muntu tikamwitana lero azakamba kuti mwakamba tini muzukulu wana so munali kumugulisa munali kumwikapo so chamene tikamba kuti permission yogulisa traditional land munaichosa kuti inavomekezana nava Headman manje va Headman muno mukoti vakana vakamba kuti imwe mumavanyozera mukamba kuti siningoweruziwa na Headman wachirema bana.
Key witness in the case, Headman Manyama, gave his side of the story as well.
Ninadabwa kuti vanakamba timaro ni Zulu. Vazulu valina maro yavo. Izo ndalama zamene vanadya uko Vazulu. Na vantu vamene vadyera ndalama vanachita kuvapo maro kuti wadyera ndalama kuti uli na maro. So maro ni ng'ono chape. Ngati mwaenda mungadabu pali vantu vopitirira 5 kugaba maro yamene yakuti na wina ngwatenge ku chifukwa chakuti Vazulu vana vadyera ndalama. Bauza inati ine siningalamulirwa na muntu wachirenje. Ndinawadapo maningi. Chamene chinaipa kuli Vazulu sinichiziva. Vanipereka mu mapolisi vanipereka ku. Koma vali na muzi wao na vana wao valipo.
After concluding the interrogation process, the court temporarily adjourned as the panel went to consult Chieftainess Mungule for the verdict. Upon resumption, it was time to give judgment.
So the judgment ya pekwa suno tekupekwa bulemu kumbasu shonse kambovene bamasundu besa mkuchulona kwambayi uyu mulandi wakalinga wapilingana tapakalingawo kukonga mulawo wabwine mukulu amulawo wa mfulumeni abobo musena ma.
The verdict was what Mrs. Ngulube had anticipated, as she lamented the 3 years she had endured in fighting to protect her only inheritance.
Mulungu amasogolera popeza kuti koti inayamba kale mulungu anayika kuti bakukoti batiweruze ife amene bali bovutika na bena basavutike koma boma imatandiza kutyolera ku bantu amene anayika na kale inalipo. Samueli anapingulisa bakazi babiri baja bachifwamba koma banapulumuka umoza anapulumuka anali kunenera ku kintu chamene sichili chake kuti tiye ntigabane bana. Mfumu inaziba kuti mwine wa mwana ni uyu ine niberenga nine mkristo kudaji ninaiona Bible kuti muntu wina amatayika kuna maboza.
Zambia Land Alliance Executive Director Henry Machina upheld the verdict as it highlighted gender in relation to land rights. Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, Police Officer Land and Environment, noted the need for Zambia to resolve issues surrounding the delayed land policy.
We work across the value chain, which means that we cover all issues starting right from the inputs all the way to policy issues, all the way to markets. When the farmers are planting, the inputs they put in, up to the level where they go to the markets and have access to the markets. So that's our goal. And across the value chains, we have policy issues, seed policy issues, market policy issues, land policy issues, environmental policy issues, and the department which I work in tries to address those issues. And so one of the projects we're supporting here in Zambia is a land policy project, which is why we've come here to see how our investment has benefited the local people.
She, however, says Zambia's land challenges are a continental challenge which will require a multi-sectoral approach to address. AGRA is supporting Zambia Land Alliance and Farmers Organization Support Program in implementing the 2-year Enhancing Agricultural Productivity through a Supportive Land Policy in Zambia project. For Mrs. Ngulube, she can now breathe a sigh of relief knowing she and her grandchildren have a piece of land to sustain their livelihood.
Well, that's our show for today, but before we go, as usual, we leave you with the proverb of the week. And this week's proverb says, if a child washes his hands, he could eat with kings. proverb again is, if a child washes his hands, he could eat with kings. You can send us your interpretation of that proverb. All you have to do is type ASK, leave a space, type your message, and send it to 3322. Good news for our viewers out there. The Scoop is now online. All you have to do is go to www.movietv.com and click on the Scoop to catch the scoop. Well, from the entire Scoop team, this has been Francesca Banda. Thank you so much for the pleasure of your company. Till next week at the same time. Bye-bye.